Okay, so we have covered correlation, thread group, and component. So what we have components? What are the components? Any idea?
Yeah, a thread group, test first test planner, thread group, listeners, samplers.
It should be remembered in order, right? So logic controller, config element, timer, preprocessor, sampler, post processor, assistant, listener. Apart from that, test plan, test fragment, thread group. Okay. So thread group is for the load generator, and logic controller is way to control our request. Config element is for the like CSV cookies, cache headers, and the timer to create the delay between request to request, and the preprocessor to do any action before sending the request. Sampler is nothing but a protocol which are nothing but APIs. Post processor to do anything after once you got the response, like regular expression extractor, anything. Assertion is to validate, pass or fail. Listeners to collect all the results and reports. Okay, right. So now you understood these things, right? And what we did earlier, we just recorded through our recorder and we achieved it. Correct. But there are few applications where they don't have a UI.
Okay.
Like services, backend services. So what could do the backend services? Suppose if you take any application, right? Let's take a mobile phone. In the mobile phone, we have weather service. Right. So in the mobile, they won't build a own server for weather service. They will simply buy some APIs from the weather guys and they will insert it to the mobile phone.
Okay.
So here, but they are using weather service APIs. That we call APIs backend, right? So they will simply integrate it and do display the weather. Otherwise, the mobile guys has to build a server. They have to build a satellite to all these things.
Okay.
Okay. Or if you take any banking, right? Any banking, sometimes they'll ask Aadhaar at the time of registration, kind of. So, and they're getting verified because bank guys are using Aadhaar card APIs.
Okay.
Or if you take any application, right? For the login, they're providing Facebook and Google. Correct. So, in that means they doesn't have access to Facebook code or Google Gmail code. They have only access to APIs. So whenever you enter username and password, they will check with the Facebook whether username and password is proper or not. Then they will log in. That's it. It doesn't mean that they completely access to Facebook source code. You understood, right? Concept of the open APIs, the backend. Yeah. So when if some projects, right, the application could be in that way as well. You have to do load test on only APIs. So there is no AI. So how we'll deal with? So in that cases, we will write APIs manually. Okay. So let's take one of the example. So this is one of the dummy endpoints. Okay. See, these are the APIs.
Okay.
So if I click on this, what it says, this is a get API. And if you take API, got the data. So generally they will maintain the APIs in this way, whether in some application or Swagger or the PDF or Excel sheet. Because they have to share some guide, right? So there could be easy anyway. This is a like which one directly they'll share. Or let us see now Swagger. I'm just taking the pet store example of Swagger. So you have any idea on Swagger?
No, Ravi.
So Swagger is nothing but to store the APIs, to run it, to check it. Because if developer having the APIs, right, where they will check? They need like Postman, Gmail to test it. Instead of that, what they will do now, they will use the Swagger kind of. Swagger is one of the tool where it will help us to maintain the APIs, update, delete everything. And they will provide, suppose if you want, they share the API and you want to know how it runs. So they need to explain, correct? Whenever you want to execute. But here they will put, see, they kept as a description, add a new pet to the store, and they will give the sample data.
Okay.
And they will give the sample response. What could be the response? So that simply based on this data available, you can test on your own.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, they will share in this format, some Excel sheet or some browser, some application. Some other way they need to share. Then only we will make that as our Bible reference. Then we will add into our JMeter.
Okay.
Okay. So irrespective of what are the form they share, you need to add into JMeter. So here we can't do recording
Oh.
because it is not a UI.
Hmm.
Okay. Or we can do recording one way, where if you open the Swagger in our Firefox, and if you run over there, right, then it will record. Correct. So whatever you do in the browser, it will record. At the time, it will capture. Okay. But sometimes if there's not in a Swagger, like they shared in Excel sheet, they shared in a PDF, so we can't do, right? At the time, we have to do manually.
Okay.
Okay. So now today we'll see how manually we'll enter. Then we'll go to the components.
Okay.
Okay. So as I open JMeter, bin will go to bin and we'll click on JMeter.bat, right? So here we don't use any templates. If you want, you can use as well, but let's try to use the own components now. Okay. So the first thing, whenever you open a JMeter, the first thing you need to add is thread group. The very first thing. Okay. So once we add thread group, now we need to add a listener where we'll check the view registry, right? So, yeah. So this order could be anything, whether you can add first view registry, then that group, that's fine. Because right, JMeter will execute in the particular order. Yeah. So let me add listener, add where I can find view registry, I can find listener. Okay. So now I can run, because now I can run the script because I have this one. So now I need to add API, no? So from where I will add API, thread group, add sampler.
Sampler HTML.
HTTP request. Okay. So let's take a first API here. So what is the first one? It's a get. Okay. And see, they didn't mention server name. Let's server name is this one. Okay. So we need to put get data. Okay. And first thing, what is a protocol? So what it is, it's a locked, right? So it means secure, HTTPS. HTTPS. So earlier we didn't care of these things. It's recorded. Now you need to understand what is what. So that's a protocol, whether it's HTTP or HTTPS. And server name. Server name is this one. See, server name is nothing but till the part of .in, .com, .net. That you call server name. Okay, so here we already kept this one, right? So we'll remove this one. So in JMeter, server name should be in this format. Okay, simple. So whenever you enter, it should be always in a simple server name. It should be not like HTTP everything, because JMeter will frame from here. Okay, now there is a port number, right? So there is no port number here. So we'll give port number as blank. Okay, and next method. What is the method they mentioned? Get method. So here you can select whatever the method you want, you can put it. So these are the available methods in JMeter. So we'll put a get. So now path or endpoint. So path or endpoint is nothing but this one. Okay. So after dot in whatever we have, that's called a path. Okay. Or endpoint. Okay.
Okay.
So see, if you observe, this is our final URL, no? Correct, generally. So same way, it also should be in this format. So HTTPS, it will add column, it will add this one, and you see slash should be there because there is no slash here.
Yeah.
See, we have slash here, no? That's why you keep slash here. Because at the end of after execute, it should in this format. So based on that, you need to add our changes.
Okay.
Okay. So let's save. Okay. So let's run it and check. Okay. You click on this one. And you should see whether it is properly framed or not. The first thing.
Okay.
If you remove the slash over there, right, it won't get the slash won't come here. Okay, and we'll check the response. Whether we are getting same response in our browser, because this is our reference. If you are not getting response here and you got the response here, it means the issue with our script. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are the references? If so, they will give Postman scripts or they will give Swagger. So if it is working in that source, it should work in our JMeter too. Okay. And so now this is not HTML. This is simple JSON. Because API will give always in simple format. Na? So here instead of text, if you click on text. So earlier we used to do HTML or browser. So now we need to do a JSON. So that you can understand the data better. Got it? Understood, right? How one should add this API?
Yeah.
Get that. Any doubts here to add any API?
No.
Okay. So now let's add one more. This is post. Add sampler HTTP request. Okay, and let's add that. Okay, what is the next one? Let's take a post one. Okay, in the home you can try other GET requests. Okay, let's go to the post. Okay, same. Let's put what is that? Post create. Okay, post create. And same again, our HTTPS. Okay, server, same request plus started. So now this will be common, right, throughout the application.
Post.
If you're doing load script for particular application, this too will common. Whether it could be 100 APIs at 51 API. The only thing they will change is the method and the path.
Method and path.
Correct. Okay. Now let's click on the post.
Post.
Okay. Let's click on the post and what is the point endpoint APIs. See, in the browser only GET will work. No other methods won't work in the browser. Okay. Path. Now regarding port, right, we'll have data. You got it now? It is a GET, right? There is no only data, but it is a post. So in the post, we have to add data. Copy this data. Body data. Just paste the body data part. Okay. So, and anything, nothing, right? Now let's run and check. See, we executed post data. So we got the response. So what they expected, this is what they expected. Okay. So this is a request.
Great.
Okay, just a second, guys. Just a second, I'll just move. Yep. Hello.
Yeah, Ravi.
Okay. So you got the expected response.
Mhm.
Okay, 201. It's clear, right? How we'll do now.
Yes, Ravi.
Okay. So after our class, right, just try to write at least 5 or 10 APIs in the script.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Now. So now, irrespective whether we record, whether you add manually, at the end you will have JMX file which has all the APIs. Correct.
Okay.
Till that point, the way you will record or the other will write manual. Till that point, different. But once you have final APIs, final script, everything will be common. Okay. So now let's say we have JMX from the recorded one or the manual one. Okay. So now we recorded or we written the manual in the production environment. Okay. Assume that you want to test the Scrum script in our UAT environment. Okay. UAT or Dev something, right? So in the if you go for any other environment, the only change will be in the URL only.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Other data, everything will be same. That's a just so what you have to do, you have to simply come to here and put a like request restaurant dot dev kind of or dot UAT or dot test. True. So if we have 1-2 APIs, now what I can do, I will come here and I'll do manually. 1-2 APIs. But you recorded for around 100 APIs are there, and you manually written like 5 per day, and you written around 20-30 APIs. Okay.
Okay.
So if you want to change, so it is like very big change.
Time taking.
Obviously, time taken. It's like one time, okay, we'll do slowly. But if someone on runs test, someone to dev, someone production UAT, so that's hectic. So instead of all those things, we have a one option. That is add config element. This kind of config settings, right? In the config setting, we have request defaults.
Okay.
Okay, request defaults. So what this will do is whatever you keep here, and it will pass throughout our script. Okay, so let's see. Let's here put HTTPS and request.in. Okay. So if I run now, it won't populate because we have already there. So whenever using request defaults, right, you should keep in the APIs, the main access should be blank. So then only it will pass. So let's remove here. Let's remove here. It's a common field, right? So whatever you think that is common for every API, right, you should put in the request defaults.
Okay.
Okay, now let's run. See, it worked with passing of the data from the request defaults. So if you have 100 or 20 or 1, right, simply you will come here and you will change it. So let's put here request.in.dev. Using that. Okay, and let's see. I'll keep the old ones so that we can compare. See, now it passed request.devin and request.devin. Simple change. Okay, but sometimes if you want to particularly hit some other different point, some particularly, right? So for that you will give the server name here. So it will take from here. So whenever there is a blank, whenever the protocol server name, whatever the blank, then only it will take from request defaults.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want specifically mention, then you can mention it. So it won't take from the request defaults. If you want to separate, like exclude it. Okay, it's clear, right? Request defaults. So whatever the command you can keep here, and it will populate into all your APIs.
Okay.
Okay, and next thing. So right now we are just using a dummy applications, so that's why it's working. But in the real time, we have authentication. So we have some settings or headers. So to do that, we need to add a header manager. Right click, add config element header manager. If you are doing manually, we need to add all these things. Generally in the header, right, we'll send accept or application or JSON or token authentication kind of things we'll send in a header.
Okay.
Okay, so if everything is a common header, you can keep header in the thread group level such that it should be applicable to all your APIs.
Okay.
If you want like like individual header for each data, right, then we'll add each header for each data.
Okay.
So whenever record, right, it automatically record a header manager. Just observe. For each API, it will have header. Its own header. Okay, it's clear, right? Header manager request defaults. And same way, mostly we won't be using it, but some cases we have to use cookie and cache. Generally, we are not using any UI applications, right? Otherwise, if you're using a UI application particularly, then you have to use the cookie manager compulsory if you are doing for any UI application. But if you are doing API like manually, then you should use cache manager if you required. You want to clear the cache between the data. Otherwise, these two are not required. Okay, but you should know from where you will add these things. Okay. So, yeah, understood manual concept, na? Right. So now let's go to. So yeah, the last time when we discussing thread group, right? We explained now user one, the root one.
Yeah.
It's clear, right? Okay. Yep. So let's go to the listeners component first. Okay, now we cover the basic. We'll cover now one by one. First we'll cover listeners, then timers, then like that we'll cover all the geometry components. Okay. Let's go to
Okay.
our recording script so that I can explain better. Okay, this is what we recorded. Correct.
Hmm.
And everything is there. Okay. So now, so in the listener, what is the listener? Listener is nothing but to display the results or
It's
to generate the report.
mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
What?
here, right. So in this, all the listeners will work in the same way. Listeners nothing but work in the same way, and only the difference is the way it displays the data.
Hmm.
So it will take input same, it will show everything same, but the displaying at the time displaying, it will display differently.
Yeah.
Okay. And for every listener, we have two sections. One section is this one. Write results to file, read from the file. Other section is this one. Display the data. And this write results to file, read from the file section will be common for any listener. So let's go to results table. See the write results to file, read from the file. Okay. And let's go to other listener. Add listener aggregate report. See the write results file, read from the file. This section is common for any listener. Okay. So before that, let's see whatever. So what the VROS will do? VROS will do simply nothing but it will display data of. Let's put all this back one. Okay, it will simply display the request and response. In this listener only, you can see whatever you send the request and you will see the response. In no other listener, you can't see those things. So you will see only metrics. Okay. So, and this listener we won't be using whenever you go for higher load because it will take a lot of memory.
Okay.
Okay. So this is only for debugging time. And if you see right here, okay, here is not okay. So just remember, whenever you are going with low memory configuration, and if you want to go for higher load, so always try to disable this one. Okay, right. So the first component is sampler result. In the sampler result, it will display all the metrics. So this metrics will be common for any other listener, whatever the display sampler. Okay. So first thing is the start time. So when this request got executed. Okay, and load time is nothing but response time. So in JMeter, the load time, response time, average time, all are response time only.
Okay.
By default, the units are millisecond.
Okay.
Okay, and the connect time, I'll tell you what are there, and latency, it might be in milliseconds, and size, all these things. And mainly, we'll use VResult for the request for what we are sending, whether it's properly there or not, and response. What we are getting. So we can check here HTML, JSON, and all the things. Or we use our regular expression extractor now to test our correlation ID. So all things are available in the VResult. Okay, and sometimes as you're doing a high load, right? You don't want to check the success part. Anyway, it will success.
Okay.
You want to check only errors, right? Why you have to display time on? So at that time, you can display your log display only. If you click on only errors, it will display only errors. This will help you on higher load because you want to check the failed conditions.
Okay.
Okay, see, it displayed only that one. Otherwise, if you select success, it will display only passed one. So it won't display the failed one. Okay, right. So now, but if now we executed now, and second time we executed, you did something, third time we executed, and if I ask you, where are our previous run results? Do you have anything to say, share?
Previous results.
Yes. See, now I triggered and I executed earlier as well. No, I got some data.
Hmm.
Okay. Now I'm executing 5 users. Next time I'll execute 10. Next time I'll execute 20. So where are the reports for all these 4 runs? We need to save in somewhere, na? To report
Hmm.
or to share or to compare. So where are we saving that?
In our system.
Where did I mention? In system, in where?
Usually by using BlazeMeter, we will download it, right? It will be in
If using
download.
BlazeMeter, but right now I'm not
Hmm.
using any BlazeMeter.
Okay, here. JMeter.
See, if they will ask, na, what is the proof that you executed 4 times? So that's why every time, whenever once our script is ready or debugging is ready, once our script is ready for main load, right? So from that point onwards, we have to save the data of each and every run. Okay. Whether if you're running for some, suppose you start with the 10 user test. So you'll save 10 user data. Or you execute the second time again. So 10 users trial 2. Third time, 10 users trial 3. Otherwise, now we move to 50 users. Now 50 users trial 1, 50 users trial 2, 50 users trial 3. You need to save every executed data.
By here, by clicking on that black button, we will save. Right?
Where black? Which black button?
Near tools, near like black color is there, no? From in UA fourth one. Beside yellow one.
This one.
Huh.
This is save. This will save our script.
Okay, you are asking location?
No, not location. The location will be for the JMX file. This is a JMX, right? This is not result file. So that's where we use this section. Write results to file, read from the file. So if I give some file name, let's give one user test, right? I will give one user underscore trial one dot JTL. So JMX is script extension, right? JMX. JTL is the result file extension. You can give .txt, you can give .csv, you can give .gtl. Any format, it work. Okay. So now clear and run. So what happens it, right? Now it is storing the data in this JTL file.
And where it will say?
So now I didn't give any path, na? So by default, if you didn't give any path, it will store in our bin folder. So let's go to bin. See, it's saved here. If I open, see, it will display the data. Your API name, when it started, what is your response code, what is the error, everything. You understood? So at any time, you can refer what is the data of your first user trial one. And if you want to compare, you can compare by, if you have many files, you can compare on somewhere, Excel sheet or somewhere, you write our own table and do that. Okay, so let's open this in Excel for better understanding. Okay, so right now in my system, Excel is not there. So let's do with our Google Drive sheets. Okay, so I haven't installed Microsoft Word, Excel in my system. That's why I'm doing like this. Okay. Let's go to the bin location and select this JTL file. sorry, it is a JTL, no? That's why it's not displaying. Okay, leave it like that. So let's open the notepad only. So do you have Excel, Microsoft Excel in our machine?
Yeah.
Let me share with you. Okay, open this in a CSV file. You can understand clearly whatever the fields we have.
Okay.
Okay. So right now it's clumsy right here. You are not able to align with your header name into this one. Okay. Now let me do one thing. Control A, Control C. Try this one. Let me try. I'm trying to separate here. That's fine. I will install the CSV. But if you observe here, na, it's a timestamp. Okay, and we have elapsed time. We have label, response code, response method, name, field, message, bytes, latency, everything will have.
Okay.
Okay. So at any time you can use this as evidence for whatever you executed, and in the future whether it's better or not. Suppose the developers fixed some issue, okay, and you executed again. So we need to check, right, whether the performance got updated or not. So it will help you. So now if I run second time, okay, so second time by default, if you click on run, it will ask you whether you want to append or you want to overwrite or don't start. So if it's the same test, same data, you can overwrite it. Otherwise, if you want to add, you can keep. Otherwise, you don't start and we'll put a trial to.
Okay.
Based on a requirement. Now it's run, it will run. So it will create a new file with new data. Okay. So now it's created a trial to JTL. You can see here. Okay. So it will accept CSV, text, and JTL. So by default, generally JTL is the output of JMeter result file. Where JMX is the script extension. Okay, right. So now this is a write result file. So what about read? Suppose your friend has executed it, okay, and you want to show, like you want to understand how it was executed. So then what we will do? We need to read, right? So instead of reading in the this one like Excel sheet or CSV, if you load here, like click on browse, and you can select wherever the data is. Bin, let's put a one JTL. See, it loaded the data. See, it observed. You can see, right? So in this way also, now if you click on here, it will display all the data. But it won't display your request and response, because that will only save metrics. This JTL file will only save the metrics, not a request or not response. Okay. It's clear now. Write result file, read from the file, and the section. So this will use only when the time of debugging. whenever you are going with higher load script, we should not use. If it's like compulsory to use, then we use either error session only. Otherwise, we will run and we'll load the file later
Okay.
because it's still like lot of memory. Okay, this is the first listener. So in this listener is only for debugging. Huh? If I want to understand how many APIs are triggered and what is the response times, so I can't use this listener, correct? If I want to say how many times it triggered, I need to calculate home page one like that. So that's where we'll go to the next one is a vResults table.
Okay.
Okay, that's clear. And we'll remove, see, like we are saving here now. Let's assume that I'm saving here, and I don't have to save here as well. At any one of the listener, you can save in one time.
Okay.
Okay, it's not like that you save results tree one format, it's not like that. Okay, so only one time. So let me remove there, and we'll okay. So vResults table, what is meant vResults in a table format. So it will display the results in tabular format instead of request and response. So if clear and run, see it displays in result table. So here it won't display the request and response. Okay, so it display what is the sample number and when it got triggered. So it triggered at 6:57 and what is thread name, and in the thread name you will see the what is the thread group number and user number, which you explained in the thread group concept, na? And label whatever it triggered and have this sample time. See here they mentioned millisecond. So in the vResults tree, if you check it, they mentioned as a load time. Everything is same. Load time, sample time, response time, average time. Okay, and status. So this status is based on ever 200. If you are not giving any own assertions, by default, if your developer is giving 200, whether right or wrong, it will display green.
Okay.
Okay, and bytes. What is the size of data you're sending? And sorry, this is received from the server, and send bytes is what you're sending.
Okay.
And this is a latency. This is connect time. So now let's explain all these fields now. Because whenever you submit a report to client, now we should explain like what is field meant and how it will impact our result.
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing is the 9:15 is the response time. Till this point, you understand there's 4 columns. Yeah, the first thing is sample time is the 9:15 is the response time. So this is nothing but this much of time this API took to get the response.
Okay.
So 9:15 milliseconds means 0.9 second. 5910 means 0.5 seconds. 4 means 0.004 second. If you count in seconds. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. And bytes and bytes. Now latency. Latency plays very important role. So lat is nothing but the network delay. So assume that you are sitting in India and you are hitting the US server. And same person hitting the US server from the US itself. So there is a gap of at least 500 millisecond response time. Because that's called latency. Because in India, it has to go through some balancers, some servers, then to US, right? Whereas in the US, based on their network speed, based on network, it will go there. So that difference we call latency. Okay. So if you want to test it, right? Now this Jammer script running in my local machine from the IST India, correct? So now you take a remote desktop. You know, right? Remote desktop, any client virtual machine. So just run the same script from the virtual machine. You will see different response times here because of this latency. Same script.
Yeah.
Okay. So latency is nothing but a network delay. So this latency is a part of a response time. If our latency increases, response time will increase.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay. And next thing is the connect time. So connect time, if you see there are zeros and there's some values. So connect time is nothing but whenever this client is sending one request to server, right? So client doesn't know what it need to send in general, the format, the basic things, right? So client and server will have a handshake one time. So that handshake cost is the connect time. So once already connected and established, right? Second time onwards, it won't have to do anything. That's it, 0. Okay. So, and if you observe here, this 278 is part of latency. And if you see, there is a 0 here, that's 599. And there's 278, it got increased. And so connect time is part of latency is part of response time.
Okay.
Okay. It's clear, right? All these definitions.
Hmm.
Okay. Same again, you can save from here or you can save from University or anywhere. Okay. So, but default, if you want to save more data, I mean, we are displaying, right, all this data. Suppose you don't want all these things. I want only few headings. So then you can use the configure. Okay. Just click on configure. You can select whatever you want. It will save those things only. If you uncheck, like if you keep only check 2, right, it will display only 2 fields. So based on your own requirement, you can configure it. But if you do in that way, right, like then it won't be compared to other listeners. I mean, any other listener. If you load the JTL file, it won't work because the JTL file should be in a common way so that it anywhere it work. But whenever you customize it, it won't work in some listeners. Okay, but you should remember the option whether you have it or not.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a resource table. So these two mostly we use in debugging, but once we are final with Go, then we use some other level of listeners. So these are two for basic and understanding your script. Okay, it's clear, right? Two listeners. Yeah. So let's take a 10 minutes break and we'll come back. Okay, so again we'll continue for 1 more hour.